We will now begin the push-up section. Ready, begin.
Right,
down.
I'm recording right
up,
now. So
one, down. Oh, okay, sorry.
My name is Haasi Korlipara, and I'm president of Triumph.
I'm Albert Tian, and I was the former vice president of Triumph.
I am Daniel Ma, and my position is one of the two secretaries as of right now. Can I dance like interpretively?
Hi, my name is Ryan Krug, and I am the secretary, one of the secretaries of Triumph.
I'm Samarah Ahmed, and I'm the treasurer for Triumph. Very Haasi, I really think, is born to be a leader. It really doesn't seem like it from the way that she may talk sometimes. She's very soft-spoken and she's very kind, but she likes to get things done. And she's one of those people who, a lot of leaders, they have this air about them. They seem like they're looking at you from somewhere above you. And Haasi doesn't have that. She's very calming, and at the same time, she'll make sure everything is going the way it should be.
Samarah is just, she thinks of ideas that I never think of, essentially. Dan and Ryan are really, they know what they're doing.
I respect the hell out of Dan Ma. I've known Dan since God knows when.
Daniel, as one of our secretaries, is very, very logical. He kind of sets a little bit of a foil to Ryan's general bubbly attitude, and he's very pragmatic, calculating, and he likes to look at things very directly, and I think that's going to take him pretty far.
The board has become kind of homogeneous, where we overlap in roles a lot. I think it's a great board this year.
We all had great summers.
What's the difference between running over a rock and running over a wheel?
Try Ward Melville.
One of them sounds good.
No.
That's a little stutter.
You don't care when you run over a wheel.
There we go.
You should say nail or like.
Mr. Meyer, did
What's the difference between a nail or what's the difference between a bolt and a wheel?
Yeah, he did.
You don't care when you
Oh,
run
much.
over.
At least when I was a sophomore, everyone saw Triumph as like, oh, you can join it, everyone gets in, and it's not like a real honest society. I joined Triumph in the beginning because I heard it was a sign in and go club.
Requirements for having a music in the school never actually really changed, just as they weren't enforced. So because we didn't want to alienate guitar players and piano players who are valid musicians, or don't actually have music, or there's not really a place for them in our music curriculum. We had that requirement so that if they play guitar, they play piano, they could still join Triumph and they could still be part of the Music Honor Society. However, that started to change. Now there's a guitar class, and there's multiple other ways to get involved in piano. So that's really why we're trying to phase that out and start to phase out that leniency. And so Albert unfortunately got caught in this transition time and was unaware about the changes at the time.
I couldn't take orchestra this year. Physics C, there's only one offering, which coincides with Chamber E, which means we had to make a choice. And I decided on Physics C. People in my same spot, right? Where, especially the STEM classes, AP Bio coincided with Chamber O, and Haasi actually chose Chamber O over Bio. She had to make that decision, which personally, I don't think the classes should be juxtaposed so that you have to choose one over the other. But you know, it is what it is. This year, Gelfer and Meyer are really trying to make it into a more legitimate honor society. So they're starting to clamp down on, actually being in a music performing group. So this year was sort of like, they put the gavel down and said, you have to be in a music performing group.
It was on the first meeting when we all got together at the board meeting, when we talked about attendance requirements and stuff like that. And Mr. Meyer brought up that Albert didn't have a music qualification. And that was going to be one of the qualifications that we were going to really be pushing this year.
We sort of knew that it was coming. We'd been discussing it for a little bit, just as the board, nothing with the advisors themselves, just wondering. It had been a rumor going about. So it wasn't entirely a shock when we first found out, but it was still a shock all the same. We talked about it, but personally I didn't think that it was going to happen, just because Albert's such a capable member of the board. He's probably one of the people who's most on top of the processes that go on the board. He's very proactive. He likes to get things done. Whenever we're kind of in a slack moment, he's kind of there to say, let's keep going, let's keep pushing ahead.
Mr. Gelfer, he told me that he had bad news, but he never really specified what it was, which was kind of stressful, especially for the entire week that I had no clue what was going on. Until finally we met with the board and Meyer, and he finally told us that Albert and other people who didn't meet music requirements, like being part of a music group, might have to be kicked out. And then I got a remind eventually, sent, I think either from Gelfer or Meyer, that said that anybody that's not part of a music group has to be out of the club, which was a pretty big shock because, nobody talked to me about it beforehand. And I do think that it is really harsh initially, but again, Meyer's reasoning was true, that if we don't set the precedent now, it's just going to keep getting delayed.
All of us as a board have been very much as a unit about the issue. Mr. Meyer has been he's been playing the middleman. He's trying to find something. Both of our advisors, Mr. Meyer and Mr. Gelfer, they really do just want what's best for the club. And part of what's best for the club is that we're truly adhering to what we say. We can't be just saying that we'll do things and then not doing them. Personally, I think that it could have been handled in a different way. I think that people who have been working for the club should not be penalized for all the work they have done because of something they couldn't control. And however, I do think necessary measures do need to be taken, and sometimes they do need to be drastic. It's an unfortunate situation, but I think it's necessary in the long run. Unfortunately, due to scheduling issues, I wasn't able to get into, I play violin and I play piano. I wasn't able to get into our school's orchestra this year. However, I was very lucky to have room in my schedule to move around, so I could also take the guitar class. I've been playing guitar since I was a kid, so I was very lucky. Unfortunately, Albert was not.
If anything, I think it's a better direction for the club. Even though I'm officially stepping down, it's, I think it's for the better for Triumph as a whole. It'll erase the stigma of it being sort of like a loosey-goosey honor society. We do an election, right? It's sort of like first past the post, where whoever gets the most votes wins, right? Popular election. I didn't actually know our election was the day that it was, so I did not have a speech prepared, but I did have ideas in my head on what to talk about, right? I just was not prepared to speak. So to be honest, I winged the speech. I wanted to change the stigma behind Triumph. There was always a long-standing stigma that you could be in Triumph or even be on the board without actually being part of a performing group, right? We had previous board members not be part of performing groups, but they use the excuse of, oh, I play piano or guitar, which we always accepted. The other stigma I wanted to change was that Triumph was seen as mostly like a sign-in and go club, which was not great. At the end of the day, that's really why most students join most honor societies, which I think that stigma has to go. But at the end of the day, it's here. We have to deal with it.
Mine and Albert's main focus for this year is to basically improve the success of the scholarship concert. It's not been successful in past years. So one of the ways we were talking about how we could possibly improve that is to maybe change the name of it, because obviously if you call something a scholarship concert, it's not going to attract as many people as Ward Melville's Got Talent. So that, basically just trying to make it more mandatory for Triumph members, because a lot of Triumph members didn't show up as well.
We're looking to do great things here. We're trying to reinvent some new events, so the scholarship concert in particular. We're hoping to reinvent and try to get a larger audience in. Other than that, I don't know if there's much we can do about the attendance system. If you look at much other large clubs, right, they all have attendance where they line up on tables and you have to sign your own name. You go up and do that, and it's always at the end, and it's always very hectic. We like it as you come in because it's a little easier to manage, and then at the end you can just leave, because no one ever starts. We don't ever start our club. Triumph doesn't ever really start until, let's say, 10 minutes after, 7 minutes after. So it's good in the beginning time, people can sign in and we get attendance down then. Dan's great, he has great ideas on how to manage we're doing the new system, a point system. So he had a great idea of, now on the attendance sheet, instead of doing president and stuff like that, the attendance sheet is now the point sheet. So everything with that, and the sheet will automatically calculate all your points for that. So all we do is enter points for events, enter points for attendance, and that's good.
Our plans for this year are probably just to continue working on that policy and just polish it for next year for the secretary jobs. Before, it was like a really negative system where you lost points or you like lost credit for every single time you missed something, and that was just kind of like depressing in a way. And then now, so we changed it now to so that you earn points every single time you attend either like a meeting or you go to one of your like mandatory events. And then so that's just a lot more positive, and I don't know, I like it.
The point system, the maximum amount of points that we require for members is 300 points. So they're basically, each meeting is 10 points, and the events range from probably 10 to 35 points. So depending on how many events or meetings you could attend to, you should have a total of 300 points by the end of the year. And we provide opportunity for at least 425 points. Dan and Ryan, they're both, I said before, they get everything done like way before I ask them to. And with the point system, they're both really talented with mathematics, so that obviously pays off.
We overlap in roles a lot. Really, the only defined roles are the secretaries in their attendance, the treasurer in keeping the dues, and the historian. Those are the only really defined roles. The president obviously has to run meetings, but everything else, all the decision making, is pretty much shared between all the board members anyways. Triumph has always been like a pretty casual environment. Haasi's not like, oh, I'm the president, you guys have to do what I say. Like, no, it's, if anything, she tries to paint herself more as an equal to us, which I really appreciate. I think we should have at least one junior on the board because me, Ryan, and Haasi were on the board last year, right? And then we got involved in the decision making and processes behind the scenes that, you know, a board has to go through. With us being all seniors this year, I think this is a hell of a board, right? I think we have a great, or, you know, I was a part of it. However, that will leave 0 members on the board this year that will be able to be on the board next year, which means they're just going to have to start from square one unless we take them through a year of decision making, basically. It's also because we're trying to make a lot of big changes this year. We're really trying to digitize everything, put everything on Google Classroom or Google Sites. And I don't know, the new incoming juniors to be seniors might not understand that or be aware of that even.
We as a board have been trying our best to be rather transparent with the rest of the club. We are trying our best to show them what's been going on, when people are meeting, and it will be a little harder just because they don't have anyone who's currently experiencing the board as what it is and how much it goes into it and how much we do, but I don't think it's going to be terribly difficult.
I joined Triumph because I heard that it was music-related events combined with community service, both things that I truly enjoy being a part of. So that was the main attraction for me, and the fact that Catherine Leong, the president from 2 years ago, she came into my 10th grade English class to talk about it and how we participate in helping with NISMA, Music Without Borders, tutoring young students. That was like super exciting, and you know, I found it appealing, so that's basically why I joined.
I joined Triumph because I was in orchestra and I liked music and I was involved in other music things, so I thought Triumph might not be so bad. I am in Juilliard Pre-College, which is like a music prep program. I go to the city to Juilliard. Basically, the entire Saturday is taken up by music-related activities like We have an orchestra there, we do chamber music, there are classes like ear training and music theory. My level of music's probably higher than most people here, and then so like I have a higher understanding of the music, but I don't think that matters when you're talking about a music honor society, because basically what we're trying to do here is just to spread music across our community. I don't think it matters whether you are like an expert musician or you're just beginning. If you want to learn music, you can join this club, and that's great.
You have so many different instruments. People wouldn't think that a brass instrument and a string instrument would go together, but they do. They can be made into something beautiful, and I think the same goes with Triumph as a whole, along with the people in it. And not many honor societies have that. The honor society is mainly focused on running a lot of the music-oriented aspects of the school. We provide a lot of the music at certain events, and we can allow our people to help out with the local things that are going on in the community. We have players who are volunteering at veterans' homes, at hospitals, at events for awareness, fundraisers. Our main purpose of Triumph is to contribute to our community in the best way we know how, through music.